All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 360 Sports Show here on another beautiful Sunday morning, September 13th, 2020. I am Andrew Pizzelli. Welcome to the show. Our email address and social media handles are right there on the screen. You can email the show at any time, whether while we're live here or throughout the week, and we will get to those, the 360 Sports Show at gmail.com. That's the email address. You can always hit us up through Instagram and Twitter at 360 Sports Show. Thank you for finding us here on a Sunday morning. We are live every Sunday at 11 a.m. on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and Periscope, and you can connect with us through any of those platforms. And if you can't catch us live, you can catch us on the podcast. Just search for the 360 Sports Show on any of your favorite podcasting platforms. So we've got a lot to get into today, a lot of great stuff from the NBA and NHL, and the NFL starts in earnest today. Week 1 began on Thursday, but all the games really start today. Sundays are for football. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring in our co-host here, my good friend Christian Lauber. Christian, how you doing here on Football Sunday?
Yeah, finally some. It definitely feels a little weird, but football being back is a good thing. We got 110 days left.
Woo!
And we're slowly getting down there now.
Oh, getting there. So this show and one more show, and then we're into double digits.
Exactly. Yep. We just got to get through 2 more.
Actually, I want to look now. Hold on. Calendar. I want to see. I'm just curious. I haven't thought about peeking ahead and looking at a calendar. I'm just curious when our Okay, so the 31st, New Year's Eve this year is on a Thursday. So it'll be January 3rd will be our first show in the new year. So 2021 will be 2 days old, and so by then we'll have a maybe a good enough sample size to know how the year's going to go.
Yeah, one can only hope.
Oh boy! All right. Anyways, let's jump right in. Lots to get to. We will do our NFL picks. That's kind of the beauty, Christian, of us doing this live now on a Sunday morning, is that we can make picks live. And if people are listening live, they can hear our picks. They can take our insights into account. And then if they listen to it as a podcast on Monday or Tuesday, they get to see how wrong we are.
Exactly. Yeah, how much we suck.
So you get the best of both worlds. So we will get to the NFL later on at the end to get our picks. As like I said, you can send us your thoughts and questions through the comments section or by email, the360sportshow at gmail.com. But I want to start with the NBA, which we've said for a while has been the most exciting product this summer / now almost fall. And the second round has been fantastic in some of these matchups. Last weekend, we talked about the Celtics, lose Game 3 in dramatic fashion, lay an egg in Game 4. How do they respond? And so that series ends up going 7 games. The Bucks completely just collapse. I know they managed to win a game without Giannis. Let's get into that. The Lakers end up kind of cruising, and the Clippers in Denver might go the distance as well. We don't know, but let's start, because I know we both want to talk a lot about the Celtics, but let's get the other ones out of the way. The Bucks, man, just more disappointment for them. I mean, I know it's a weird year, and how much do you read into everything, but they should have gone a lot further. And you know what? They should not be getting gentlemanly swept by any team. They were the best team. They could have set. They were on pace to have like one of the best seasons in NBA history, record-wise and scoring-wise. And I know that all gets disrupted because of the bubble, but man, I know it's some of it about the matchup, but it's like we said, Giannis, a guy who can't shoot and a guy who can't make free throws. At the end of the day, they're going to wall you off and make all the other guys beat you. And the Bucks just, honestly, in actuality, don't have enough. And they lose in 5 games to the Heat.
Yeah. Look, there's no reason you should be getting, like you mentioned, 5 games. That's a fail. That's a major fail for this team. They should have at least, I would say at least 6, maybe 7, easily for this team. But on the other side of it, I think they've been and they are heavily overrated. Now, obviously, the bubble changes things in terms of home court, and the atmosphere is different, and guys are struggling in there. But overall, they I mean, look, Chris Middleton is what he is. He's a streaky shooter that if he gets hot, he could roll. If not, he's just kind of like, lower end all-star, I want to say. Like, he's a good player, not a great player. Giannis was exposed in this series and has been overrated since he came in the league. He's the MVP because he's 9 feet tall and he dunks on everybody. Whoop-de-doo. But at the end of the day, he can't shoot and he misses free throws. And they were exposed in this series by Miami's grit and toughness. And also, you build a wall on Giannis. He has 2 moves. He runs you over, he spins and kicks it to somebody, and then they chuck up threes all day. And I think for that team, like Brook Lopez, if Brook Lopez is shooting like 8 to 10 threes a game, I think you're in good shape if you're the opposite team because that means it's less for the other guys around him. And also, let me just say this: Eric Bledsoe sucks. He has not done anything for them.
Yeah.
He scored like 8 points in Game 6. It's just like he doesn't do much. They gave him a huge contract, and I just think that team is just overrated. Now with home court, they probably win a couple more games, but Miami exposed them a little bit.
The biggest mistake that the Bucks have made is letting Malcolm Brogdon go. Letting Malcolm Brogdon go. I mean that's a guy that you
Yep.
needed. That's the guy who would have given you a little extra offense, way better than Eric Bledsoe, like just light years ahead of Bledsoe, and that's the guy that they miss and that they would have needed to maybe get over the hump here. And I still don't think they win a championship with that team, even if you put Brogdon on there instead of Bledsoe. But I think maybe that their willingness to pay Brogdon and kind of reach that luxury tax area, I think Bucks management, they're going to get what they have coming to them, because Giannis unfollowed everyone. This is what we have to do now in 2020, not just 2020, but in today's day and age. Hey, so and so just unfollowed all these people on social media. Giannis unfollowed every single person on social media except his family and like 2 or 3 friends who are like must be like part of his marketing team or something like that. And his dog. He didn't unfollow his dog on social media. So, and apparently he's asked for a meeting with the management of the Bucks. And I don't blame him. And now, do I think Giannis is to blame for what happened a little bit? Yes. I think he should improve his game. He's a phenomenal athlete. He is a all-world type talent. But, like we've said multiple times, to win a championship, he needs to get better. He needs to shoot. Or he needs to have different types of players around him, which I think Brogdon would have helped, and maybe that gets them to a conference finals. But still, it comes down to Giannis. You want to be the MVP, you have to carry the team. Now, I know he got hurt, so I'm not going to blame him for not like being out there in Game 5, right, and in the end of Game 4. That is completely what it is. He got hurt, legitimate injury. But you could see it coming with this team. I think we both felt that the Heat were going to give them some trouble, and that maybe they still find a way to get to a conference final, and maybe even win that conference final just because Giannis is a mismatch. But they got, like you said, Christian, they got exposed, and now the seed of doubt is planted. Does Giannis think that the Bucks management is willing to pay to put a competitive team around him? Or does he think they just want to fill seats, they just want to sign me to a max deal, keep me here for 10 years, and be able to be a profitable franchise that wins 60 games and flames out in the playoffs, but at the end of the day they're making money? If he thinks that, or if he doubts himself, or doubts the team, or any of that, the Bucks should come to him with a max offer right now. Max extension. We'll give it to you, Giannis. If he balks or straight up asks for a trade, do it. Just do it.
Yeah, you got to get something.
And because you can't, if he's not sold on the Bucks, or the Bucks aren't sold on him, it's going to happen this offseason. He's not going to play out a year and go to free agency. Because the Bucks will want to remain. You can't let him LeBron you or
Yeah.
Durant you. You have to just trade this guy. And it's a very I'd say it's very similar to what happened with Durant. Durant, I would never leave OKC. I love OKC. This is my home. This is the team that drafted me. Blah 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 blah. I'm gonna go play with the Warriors.
Yeah.
And that's one of the teams that's rumored. I mean, the Warriors are the most intriguing offseason story because of the talent they have on that roster and the capital they have to move around. They have a top 3 pick. They have Andrew Wiggins, who maybe they want to keep, maybe they want to move on. They could trade both of those things. They could trade the pick for Giannis, and then they could turn around and trade Wiggins for something else in a package deal. Or you 3-team, 4-team. There's so many. What the Warriors are going to be next year is so fascinating and scary. But that's one of the rumored teams that Giannis could want to go to. Maybe it's the Miami team. If he goes to Miami, then that's completely the Durant move. Like, I'm going to go to the team that outed me. Just like Durant paved the way for this, I guess I can do it too. So that I don't know. I don't like Giannis's future in Milwaukee. If you're a Milwaukee Bucks fan, look out, because I think the dark days are coming.
Yeah. Look, I think he could easily just move on at this point. But at the same time, he said he's going to stay. So that's the biggest offseason story. Fortunately, we still have games to be played. So we'll see what happens with him. But overall, I think Milwaukee made a mistake with Brogdon and Bledsoe, and they are where they are because of that and a bunch of other things where I just don't think Giannis is as good as everybody thinks. Like, he does some nice things. He's definitely a very, very good player, but he's overrated.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100% with you on that. So that's it. The Bucks are out, paving the way for the Eastern Conference to be wide open. Next, the Lakers cruise. They lose Game 1, and then they pretty much just cruise here to the finish line against the Rockets. Christian, is small ball dead? Is it dead? Did the Rockets prove in defeat here that you actually need size? You can't just play 5 guys and play iso ball. Is it dead, or is it more that Russell Westbrook sucks at shooting and cannot be part of a team like that? They tried. I think it worked in the regular season, but in the playoffs, you can't have that guy be part of an offense like that. It's just not going to work.
Yeah, I think it's less the small ball thing, and I think it's mostly because the Rockets play, I would say, I would say zero defense. Any game ever. They want to outscore you 140 to 130, and if they can't, they are going to lose most of the time. So the small ball thing, they definitely did not go well. I'll say that, because obviously the Lakers have size, but overall, I just think it's the same old story with the Rockets. They want to beat you by running. It's D'Antoni's offense. They want to run around the court. Harden's going to shoot 50 times and score 50 points, and he's going to get to the line. But if you just play a little defense and score down the other end, look, LeBron and Davis are 2 studs, so I don't think the Rockets had a chance ever. They played pretty well in Game 1, but then they just got absolutely run over. So less small ball, more it's the same old story with the Rockets. They either need another piece, they need to get rid of either Westbrook or, Harden to me is a guy that is like whoop-de-doo. He scores 50 points, but he doesn't do much else. He's a better defender than people give him credit for. But again, the guy hasn't won a thing, and it's the same old story with this team. Every year in, year out, they want to score 400 points, but then they give up 440. So I don't know. Maybe a coaching change. They need either another piece or to get rid of a piece. But yeah, same old.
Yeah, I think Westbrook has to go. I just think, that's the only way that team can improve is if they get rid of him, because they don't have any capital. They've traded away all their draft picks to try and build the team that they built this year. They went all in, and it didn't work, which I think is good for the NBA that it failed. because and not that teams won't go small at times in games, but I don't think you're going to see these teams constructing themselves without bigs. I think we've proven that bigs are still necessary.
Yeah.
So the only asset they have that's worth anything, they're not going to get rid of Harden. It's Westbrook. And I don't know where he could go. I don't know who would want him for that contract. Maybe like Orlando.
Yeah, I mean, what else? What are they going to do though? They keep trading that spot. They got Chris Paul. Now this is going to change everything. That didn't work out. So then they trade for Russell Westbrook. That didn't work out. So then you're going to trade him away, and that's probably not going to work out. So I don't know if they can they're going to compete in the West, but once playoff time comes around, they're not getting through the Clippers, the Lakers, the Warriors when they're healthy. Uh, you name it. They barely got through OKC this year. I don't know. I just don't see. I think they should move on from Westbrook, but I don't know what they do because they don't have much.
No, I think it's just one of those things. If they keep moving that spot and somebody's willing to take that person from that spot, then they can kind of keep reshaping themselves every year, and at least there's like that, hey, like we're different this year type thing you got going for you. And people remain interested. I think if they bring back the exact same team, you're going to get the exact same result. They're gonna win 52 games. 48, 52 games somewhere in there. Get to the playoffs. Win a first round series and then lose in 5 or 6 games in the second round. That's what their that's what their ceiling is.
I just don't know how D'Antoni's still on that, still coaching that team. Same story every year.
Yeah, but it's not. I don't think it's his fault. I mean,
I think it's his style, though. I really do. I think he's always been this guy that wants to run up the score, but once you get pushback and you get defended pretty well, you lose. This is the same old story.
Last night, Game 5 against the Lakers, the first quarter, defensive indifference from the Rockets. I think the Rockets actually played good defense when they wanted to this year. They were a pretty decent. They were one of the best defensive teams during the restart in the bubble. I think if they committed themselves, now like you said, that's not necessarily D'Antoni's style, but if they wanted to, they would ratchet up the defense when they needed to. They needed to against the Thunder. That series was a rock fight, and I just think. Do you blame D'Antoni for the players coming out and basically not even trying, not even running back and deep? You make a bucket and then the other team gets a throw ahead dunk like over you. Like, is that coaching or is that just the players on the floor not caring?
I mean, I think it's definitely both, but well, actually more the players for sure. But at the same time, D'Antoni, I'm just surprised that they haven't tried making a change there because they've tried about everything else. They bring in every other point guard, every other all-star point guard every year. So I don't know, just maybe try something new. Maybe that's Harden's guy. I don't know, but
yeah. Just on the Lakers though, I mean they had a 3-point barrage to start that game, which just it put the game away. The Rockets made a little run, but you just knew like when the game started that way and the Lakers got up 22 points in a blink, it's like, well, this game's over. Second, and they're not necessarily a great 3-point shooting team, but they were in that first quarter, and that basically ended that game. Also, LeBron is a beast still, and you know what I love? Yeah. I love that he's letting the hair grow out a little bit. I love that you can see the bald spots. I love that you can see the gray in his beard, and the dude is still going full speed, dribbling behind his back and throwing down on people. Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome.
He balls.
I love it.
He's still an absolute stud. I mean, he's just like he can turn it up to another level, and he's still, probably the best player in the world, no question.
And I think he's gonna like quietly become like Tom Brady, like where people just keep waiting for him to fall off a cliff, and he just doesn't. Like people are just gonna keep waiting for like LeBron to suck, and I don't think LeBron's ever gonna suck. It's just not going to happen because he's adapted his game to be more of a post player. He'll work his mismatch. He's not always trying to just be a freak athlete. He's added so much to his game that he can get through a season without having to punish himself and then do what he's doing in the playoffs. And he looked a little sluggish at the restart, the first couple games, but once the playoffs started and the bright lights came on, he's been an absolute monster. The dude's like a Terminator.
Yeah, still, he always can get to that next level. He might take some days off during the regular season, but it's all for the playoffs. And I think, he's got good experience and he's become like an elite passer. He can rebound. So even if maybe his shooting goes or his drive ability goes, he's still going to have something that's far and away better than other players in the league.
Yep. The next series, the Clippers and the Denver Nuggets. Uh, the Clippers are in position. They're up 3-2. They should win this series. I expect them to win this series, and we'll get the Battle of LA. But man, they just love to let teams back into games, and I don't get it. I feel like they should be the best team in the bubble. The offensive talent they have, the coaching. Doc Rivers as a defense first coach, the defensive versatility that team has. They have some size, they have aggression, they have great perimeter defense. They also have a litany of offensive weapons. I just feel like they should be blowing people out, and they shouldn't be blowing leads, yet they keep doing it. They did it in the restart. They've done it all year. They did it against the Mavericks. If the Mavericks were healthy, maybe they lose that series because they just couldn't match up with Luka and Kristaps. And I just feel like they're still missing it. And I feel like they're going to probably, it's going to be awesome to see how a series between them and the Lakers goes. But I feel like the Clippers are going to like walk their way into a finals. And I feel like a team that is missing that it factor. How often do they win a championship? Like, I feel like at some point, you need that it thing. And I know Kawhi Leonard has it. He has it. I think Pat Bev has it. But I don't think that team as a whole has it. I just feel like they just kind of are a bunch of guys. They have so much talent. I don't know. Like I said, it's the eye test. It's just what I see. The way they blow leads, I just feel like you can't be a team. It's not sustainable. It's just not sustainable to have that and win a championship. And I feel like it's just going to come back to bite them eventually. They might be the best
Yeah,
offensively gifted team in terms of collective talent, but I just feel like they're missing something, and they're going to win this series. But you never know. I mean, I don't know. Denver could go, if Jamal Murray goes bananas here in 2 more games, if it gets to a Game 7, all bets are off. But I expect them to put the clamps on in Game 6 and just be done with it. But I don't like it.
yeah.
I don't like it.
I would think they just close it tonight, but I think between Kawhi and George, who is now playing at a pretty high level, I think he'll be fine. I mean, Lou Williams the other day shot like 20%. So there's your 6 point difference right there. He makes 2 shots, 3 shots, but yeah, it's going to be LA, and that will be an exciting series.
Yeah. Now, to the thing that's caused us stress and anxiety for 2 weeks. The Celtics defeat the Raptors. They take the championship belt off the defending champions. The heart of the champion. The Raptors felt like zombies. Like you just couldn't kill them. Because every single game this series, with the exceptions of games 1 and 5, the Celtics would get a lead and they could just never extend it, and the Raptors just always hung around, and it felt like you were running in mud against them. That no matter how hard you tried, they were just always going to be there at the end. So the Celtics blow out. They rout in Game 5. Game 6, it's already in the books. I don't think we have to, whine too much about the officiating. But oh my God, putrid! Just so evident that the NBA wanted a Game 7, especially when the NBA is tweeting out after the game #WeTheNorth like 20 times.
Yeah, I saw
The
that.
actual
Yeah.
NBA account, not the Raptors, the NBA account tweeting that out and then saying Game 7, Game 7, Game 7. Like, all right, chill out. I know that's not like Adam Silver doing that. It's some intern, but like
Tim Donaghy. That's who
yeah,
it
it's
is.
Tim Donaghy. The officiating was awful, and I've said this. I think Christian, me and you agree on this. Bad calls, good calls, they happen, right? Missed calls happen. When refs inject themselves into a game and are apart, you never, very rarely do you actually just straight up lose a game because of the officials. That's like the main reason. that doesn't happen too often. There are extreme cases. But officials can be a factor. They're 100% a factor. And they injected themselves way too much into Game 6. I'm sorry. We want to review every little thing for, a hostile act. We want to go back and say, wait a minute, Jason Tatum, I know you got fouled, and that's why your arm, kind of came up because you had just gotten fouled on your way to the basket. But your elbow hit this guy in the head. You know what? In overtime of a playoff game, we're going to assess a technical foul on that. Because we have that power. But on the other end, if Kemba Walker goes to the basket and gets absolutely hacked at the rim, that's not a reviewable play. Sorry, Brad Stevens. You can't challenge a non-call. But we could go back in time and assess a technical on that play if we wanted to on somebody. Kemba Walker, by the rules right now, I said this to Matt Murphy, our resident NBA salary cap and draft expert. I said, by the rules right now, Kemba Walker could go up. He could go to the rim. 4 Raptors could each pick a limb and rip his arms and legs off, and he could be on the floor bleeding, and nobody would you can't go back and review that for a foul. But you could go back and assess a technical for, like, Jason Tatum, like, maybe complaining about that Kemba Walker was just, dismembered. By the rules, you can't do anything. It's ridiculous. It's like Bill Belichick says, if you're going to review things, review everything. You tell me we can't fix that call? You guys go back and make all these subjective calls on hostile act and unnecessary contact and challenging a shooter is a flagrant foul now, like a minute after the fact. We want to go back and double-check something. But a guy is clearly fouled on his way to the hoop, and you don't want to review that? What is the point? And it takes forever. It should take 90 seconds. If you can't make up your mind in 90 seconds like college football is doing now, that's it. Sorry, call on the floor stands. I hate it.
Yeah,
I hate the freeze framing and breaking these things down at, like, the anatomical level. It ruins the enjoyment of the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's a similar thing to the Bucks Heat, where they had a call at one end that wasn't a foul from 3. Then they had to make it up at the end of the game for Jimmy Butler, and he's shooting free throws to win the game. Like, it just takes away from the whole thing. Now, the officiating was awful in that game, but that's not the reason the Celtics lost. They had a chance. They had multiple chances to put that team away, and they just couldn't do it. And that was kind of the story of the series. Obviously, Kemba got fouled there, and it was in the 2-minute report, which another thing is that the NBA does that is the most useless thing in the world, because it just puts emphasis that the refs suck.
Yeah.
But I will say, now that the Raptors have lost, thankfully, to that Game 7, which another good game, but the Celtics finally, clamped down and put them away. But real quick before we get to that, is the biggest tool from the bubble is now leaving. Nick Nurse is by far and away the most hardo tool I've ever watched ever. I didn't notice him as much in previous years. Maybe he amped it up a bit. This guy is a freaking tool. Oh, my God. If I have to watch another minute of him, I was just going to turn the TV off and never watch a game again. I couldn't do it. He bitches every time down the floor. Every call he wants reviewed.
It never gets a technical.
Yeah, he never gets anything. He's standing on the court. He's practically bent over in a defensive stance trying to play defense in the corner. I can't do it. Between him and Lowry, it drives me insane. Now, obviously, you have guys like Tatum who bitches a lot, and Smart is similar to Lowry, but oh my God, does Nick Nurse.
But they're players. They're players on the court. When the coaches whine like that, it just empowers the players to whine more, and it makes it more insufferable. And he never gets teed up. Dude, stop. And they always got the call. They scream and yell wanting them to go review. Oh, wait. That guy threw an elbow like 18 feet away from the play. Oh, how about you go review Kemba Walker getting abused that entire series? Game 7, there was a call. Kemba Walker came across the lane, and Matt Thomas knocked him down. It was like a guy running a shallow cross in the NFL, and the linebacker's like, "Oh, you're within 5 yards? Boom! I'm just gonna knock you to the ground and throw you off your route because that's legal. Not legal in the NBA. That's a foul. They didn't call it, and then Daniel Tice comes to set a screen, and the guy slips on a little bit of water, and they call an offensive foul. It's like, what kind of game are we officiating here? And then those guys complain too. Yeah, you're right. Nick Nurse, it's one thing to be an energetic coach and an engaged coach. When he's standing on the baseline, like crouched over, like looking like he's ready to shoot the three, come on, man. That was Mike Tomlin-esque. That's what that
Yeah, they
was.
said they deemed him to be fine on that baseline. But either way, he's still a tool.
It's
And
still
did
a
you know
bad
he has,
look. Come on.
yeah, do you know he has his own brand?
Oh, God.
He
Brand
has
of,
like
brand
his
of
own,
what? What does he sell?
he sells like, he was wearing his own hat in his press conference. And I'm not kidding. He has like a whole website
Oh,
that he
no.
sells. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I saw it and I said, well, this just emphasizes the fact that he is the biggest tool I've ever seen.
Oh, man. Yeah, Nick. Oh, God. Yeah, his NN brand.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, God. What a. Oh.
It is he's just a hard O tool.
Well,
I could
glad that he's gone. Because, it's one thing for coaches to be into the game. Like I said, coaches are. I see coaches jumping. Brad Stevens does it when in important possessions. I see plays where he's standing in the coach's box and he's yelling, motioning, calling guys out, run here, go here, do this, do that. Coaches get into it all the time, but to be standing, I have never seen a coach stand in the corner the way Nick Nurse did. I've never, ever, ever seen that. And that's why I was expecting him to get teed up in Game 7 at one point, because the NBA would have said, dude, we said that you were technically in the right to not cause a poop storm, but, if your antics continue, we're going to tee you up. Or just, the first time he really, whines about a call, come on! Just tee him up. Just to set a tone, be like, dude, chill out. Be an adult. Like Jaylen Brown said. Grown men should be able to control their emotions.
yeah, seriously.
But let's get into Game 7. I think the Celtics kind of had, even though they've had big wins and they've gotten to the conference finals before, I think a little bit of it has been front running, and that when things are great and easy, they're fine. When things get tough, that's where champions are made. And I think by now we've expected this team to make that leap and win a tough game, eliminate another elite team. And to have to overcome the way Game 3 went down, you win Game 5, a heartbreaking Game 6, to have to battle in a rock fight of a Game 7, it's almost like now they have unlocked that next level. And having to beat the champs, and in the way that they did, and just how tough that team played, how hard, the type of defense they were running. No other team is gonna. We'll get into the matchup with the Heat. No other team's gonna run that kind of zone, because other teams it's just not. You have to practice that all the time, year round. That's something you come into the preseason saying, this is a defense that we want to be able to run, and you work on it. And so no one's gonna be able to run it the way the Raptors did, and to have to overcome all of those things, to have to really earn it, I think is more valuable than if the Celtics had won in 5 like they should have. I think there's more value in having to gut it out and earn it and really knock out the champs in 7 games instead of, hey, we won in Game 1, Marcus Smart saved us in Game 2, we got lucky in Game 3, and then we're up 3-0, so, the Raptors just kind of maybe they just go away and you win in 4 or 5. No, the Raptors believed in themselves. They were ready to pack it in after Game 3, but then they win Game 3 in a miracle, and then they win Game 4, and it's well, crud, now we're in this series. And you got their best shot. I think during the regular season they were a better team, but the Celtics, once we saw what they were like in the playoffs here, the Celtics were the better team, but I think they've learned a lot about themselves and mentally what it takes to beat a champion, and that's going to be huge. Huge. Biggest win of the Brad Stevens era. Hands down. So far to date.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. I mean, look, you had to win this Game 7. Otherwise, what's the narrative? They can't close. It changes completely. You had so many. I mean, let's be honest. That Game 3 changed the whole complexion of the series without a doubt. From probably a 4-0, I think the bubble factor would have set in there, and to this miracle shot. Then you lay an egg, and then you blow them out in Game 5. And then 6 and 7, 6 you could have won easily, but you couldn't close it. And you had multiple chances again in Game 7 where, oh, here come the Raptors again. It's going to happen all over. Same thing all series. And the narrative is you can't close. You have nobody that can, Kemba wasn't great in Game 6 or Game 7. And there you have it. But Tatum and Brown have kind of reached another level. I think, Tatum was much more assertive in Game 7, which is good. They needed him to be. And Jalen is just your kind of steady, consistent, and I think he just keeps improving, which is great. So those two guys, it was important to come through this series for them especially. But a guy like Kemba too. People forget like Kemba, although he's a consummate pro, he's a very good player, but he's never been in this spot before, right? He's always been on that team that gets losing 4 and 5 games. So for him, it's big to come through this as well. And, any day of the week, give me Marcus Smart on my team. The guy makes winning plays constantly. That block changed that game in Game 7. That was the winning play, the chase down block. And that to me, when you see that on the sideline or even on the court, your teammates going like that, that gets you amped. And I think Smart just continues to make winning plays like that.
Yeah.
And he's a huge, huge contributor. And I would hope that Stevens would keep him in the lineup if Hayward comes back and send in Hayward off the bench.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And kind of just to go off what you said about Tatum and Brown, Brown this whole year has been so steady. He got his big contract, and I think it just kind of let him relax, and he could just play and not have to think about himself at all. And he's just been such a pro. Early on, he doesn't have the three going. What did he do? I'm just going to go to the rim. I'm just going to get my game going. I'm going to get some easy looks. For a 23-year-old, that's just such an incredible mentality to have. Same thing with Tatum. End of the game, I'm glad that they just kept giving him the ball to let him go to work. But you know what? He didn't settle for shots. He went to the hoop. And there was a bunch of times. There was one where Tatum went to the rim. It was actually right before the block. Tatum went to the rim, and he got by Siakam. Siakam pushed him in the back. No call. Which, again, if that's the way you want to officiate a Game 7, fine. Just don't call some BS down the other end. Which they didn't, and I'm glad for. But Tatum gets pushed in the back, and like you said, Marcus Smart chasing down Powell in a very similar situation to how the Raptors closed out Game 6, which Marcus Smart talked about. Like, hey, he got the same kind of play in Game 6, and I fouled him. I knew I had to just go up and meet him at the rim, which he did. He got like 8 feet off the ground, which was ridiculous.
Yeah, insane.
You can't – I love Marcus Smart, his effort. His offense has come so far. He's just so under control, too. His ability to make difficult shots is insane. That one shot where he came in and, like, ducked under a guy, hung in the air, and, like, scooped it in on the other side with his left hand and won. Guys making clutch plays. I think too, like, I don't think this team's afraid. I don't think this team was ever, like, afraid of losing. I just think it was one of those things, like, they had never done what they did yet, and now they know what it takes, and that's what's huge. Also, I want to say, I know Grant Williams missed those two free throws, and, like, Tatum getting that rebound was, like, another one of the biggest plays down the stretch to seal that game. But Grant Williams getting his 7 minutes were huge. There's always a guy in a Game 7 or in a championship game, a setting like that, in all sports. There's always who's the unsung hero. There's going to be somebody who you don't expect to step up and make plays. Grant Williams in his 7 minutes were so important. He played really solid defense. He got some important offensive rebounds, which saved possessions and helped kill time and keep the lead. He got an incredible block. For a guy who's a center, right? He's kind of like a mini Al Horford. To move his feet and stay with Van Fleet and block that three at the end when it was only a 3-point game, his minutes were incredible. I know I had faith because I just wanted to believe that he would sink both of those free throws, but I wasn't surprised that he missed both. He was so calm. You could tell he came to the line and just kind of was like, just give me the ball. I just want to shoot this. I want to get this out of my hands. I don't want to be standing here any longer than I have to be. But he was huge in his minutes. And again, that's just now so many of these guys are just getting that experience. And I think looking at Miami now, it's going to be a much different series. The matchups are different, but I think a guy like Kemba is going to be unleashed. I think the box and one took him out of rhythm so much. They did a great job, the Raptors did, of saying he's the guy we're just going to focus in on and just make him not even be able to be a part of the game. And he worked hard to get some good shots in Game 7, and his 14 points were very important. I think against Miami, I think Kemba's going to get unleashed. I just think while they have the ability to say, let's just try and play that same zone, and I think Spoelstra's a good coach, I just don't think they have the same personnel to run that type of defense, and I just think that Kemba's going to get unleashed in this series and return to what we saw out of him in the restart and in the first round. Huge Miami series for Kemba, I expect.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, you probably throw Butler on Tatum or Brown, I would assume, and vice versa. Brown, I would assume, would pick up Butler on the other end. But overall, I think Miami series is going to be another tough series. They're a good team. They have a lot of grit. They have a lot of toughness, more so, and they have. I mean, they kind of match up well in terms of size with you, and I just think it's going to be tougher than people think. Now, obviously, the Raptors, that was a huge test for the Celtics, and I think they'll be better off for it for sure. So, you're a little bit more battle tested than Miami, so hopefully you come out in game one, but uh, kind of hit first almost. But I would say Miami is going to make it tough, and they have a bunch of shooters on that team, so it's going to be very, very key to guard the perimeter. And Jimmy Butler is a key guy because he's playing at another level right.
Yeah, but luckily the Celtics have wing after wing after wing after wing to just kind of keep throwing at Jimmy Butler and hopefully wear him down. I mean, Tatum can guard him, Brown can guard him. Could Shemi get undressed? Maybe, but like he's gonna play. He's gonna play hard, and give if you need him to come in and give some minutes to spell one of those guys. Even a guy like Romeo Langford could come in now. And because I just don't think you don't have to worry about a lot of the same movements and things that the Raptors did. I just think you have so many guys now that you could throw at Jimmy Butler, and then you're just going to be solid on the other guys. You know, so who knows? Once the series gets going, I think the Heat are just one of those teams that's hot. The Heat are hot. Go figure. And you got to find a way. I think that game one being on Tuesday is a huge boost for the Celtics. A little extra rest for them. Maybe Hayward can come in and give you a couple minutes. I wouldn't push it with him. I'd rather have him be ready later in the series and hopefully for the finals. But I think it hurts the Heat. Now they've just been sitting around in the bubble for even longer, basically for a week. And maybe you hope that a little bit of that Heat momentum wears off. But that's exciting. Like I said, biggest win of the Brad Stevens era for the Boston Celtics, and hopefully now they understand. It's like, can they learn the lessons? It was the same thing with the Celtics in '08. They have to go to Game 7 against the Hawks. They have to go to Game 7 against the Cavs because they just couldn't win on the road. They didn't have a championship mentality. Then you play the Pistons, who are like the Eastern Conference standard bearer, right? They're either in the finals or in the Eastern Conference final every single year. And the Celtics, you have to learn. Can the Celtics learn the lessons? Can they overcome what it takes to beat a champion? And they did. And obviously they go on and they win a title. And a big part of that was their ability to win on the road, winning Game 4 after being down 24 points to the Lakers. Hopefully the Celtics now have more of these experiences. This is the third conference final for Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart. This is the second for Tatum. He's played out. He's the youngest player ever to score 20-plus points in 3 Game 7s to this point in his career. Like they have a lot for a young group. They have a lot of experience now to kind of source.
And they should have. They were not laying an egg in the third quarter away from a final because they were up on Cleveland in that Game 7.
Yeah,
that first one for Tatum. So now it's about, can you just get there? Can you get over that hump? Because that's kind of the next battle here. You've been here before. You were just battle tested in the Raptors series, and now what can you do with it? Now, we'll say, I mean,
The difference is you don't
that,
have a
that
team like LeBron. Like LeBron isn't standing in your way right now. It's not like you have the Raptors in the conference final that you have to beat that champ. The Heat have never been here either. There's nobody on the Heat who's like got that championship, been to the finals. I've won a championship. I know what it takes. Pedigree. Spoelstra does, but I think as far as the players on the court, I feel like these are two very similar teams from an experience standpoint.
yeah, and I think without all the cooks in the kitchen from the last couple of years here, they're better off for it with Tatum and these guys just picking up the reins and going, and Smart, and Smart is one of those guys that's just a key player in every series because of his winning plays. He can shoot you out of some games, but I always remember when Kendrick Perkins said, if you saw Marcus Smart in a fight with the bear, you better help the bear. That was the best quote. I mean, that sums it up. Smart just makes winning plays, and he's a tough guy. So I think another series again where Smart's going to be huge, especially without Hayward for the first couple of games here again. This series, I think, is where they'll need Hayward a little bit more for the scoring. Hopefully he'll be back, but again, like you said, I think it'll be later in the series. But now it's time for I really think it's Tatum and Brown and it's takeoff time. And Kemba obviously is going to have a better series, but I think this team goes as far as those two young guys will take you.
Yeah, I agree. Other last note on Marcus Smart. We said how the NBA tweeted out "We the North, we the North, we the North" a million times after Game 7.
Yeah, troll job.
Marcus Smart retweeted it and just said "King of the North, King of the North, King of the North,"
Yeah,
which was great. But anyway, yep, Celtics and Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Lakers versus likely the Clippers. So that's our NBA thoughts. Quick question. You can send us your questions directly through any of our streaming platforms. We're live every Sunday at 11 a.m. Here on the 360 Sports Show. You can comment on the streams. If you can't catch the show live, we do have the podcast, and you can search for that on all of your favorite podcasting apps. And you can email the show at any time, the 360 Sports Show at gmail.com, and we'll read those as they come in or if they build up throughout the week. But Pete wants to know, Pete from Gansett here, will the 2020-2021 NBA season start in regional bubbles? Yes, 100%. They will not be doing the bubble like they're doing now. They're going to they're examining whether or not they'll play a full season. Do they go to like maybe just 60 games? They want to try and get back on their timeline somewhat, but more of a timeline that I think they want. They've wanted to start on Christmas Day for forever. And I think that's more and more likely to happen now. And it becomes, do we start here and end in May and see how that goes? And we try and play 82 games, or do we try and play 60 games? Do we start in Christmas and end in June, July? How does that go? Those are the details they're trying to work out. But yes, it will be regional bubbles. It will be, hey, you 6 teams in this area, you're in a bubble, you're playing, and then after a month of those teams kind of playing almost round robin style, half of you go travel to this other bubble, you acclimate, and then you play there, and then you leave, and so on and so forth. So there will be a regional bubble element to next season. So thank you, Pete, for the question. Quick catch up here on the NHL and where their playoffs stand. I'd say pretty surprising that the Stars are up 3-1 on the Golden Knights, and those games were, kind of weird. Anton Hudobin is going to be could potentially win a championship here as a starter before Tuukka Rask. That's a great storyline. And then on the other side, the Lightning are up 2-1, but they win Game 1 in a blowout, Christian, and then they win at like the last second in Game 2, and then they battle in Game 3 and then blow it and then give up 2 goals to lose Game 3. I have no idea what's going on in that Tampa series. I can't get a feel for who. Like, I just feel like nobody's actually in control of that series, and all of those games are just wacky.
Yeah, I mean, the first game, the Islanders got pretty much just knocked out in the first period. Tampa took it to them, but and it was a close one. And again, so I don't know. It's going to be I expected it to be closer in the first couple of games. That hasn't been the case, but I also think the series could go deep, and especially without Point. So I don't know if he's going today, but Braden Point is hurt for Tampa, so that's a huge loss if he can't go anymore. I think it was lower body, I want to say.
Hmm.
Um, and the Islanders are they're I mean, look, they're a good team. They're well coached. I don't think that if Tampa's on their level, I don't think anybody's as good as Tampa. I mean, I just think they're the best team in the league. So, I mean, when you look at it, the Islanders should keep this close if Point is not in. If Point's in, I would say Tampa's probably just going to win this. They'll wrap it up here relatively quickly. But I mean, Tampa's just the best team. That's just what it is. I mean, the point total might not show it, but if you just look at their roster up and down, they have just about the best three players in every series between Point, Hedman, and Kucherov. Um, but I'm on the Stars train now, so I'm rooting for them through and through with old buddy Tyler Seguin, and obviously they just have they got a bunch of guys on that team. Jamie Benn, Radulov, they're all playing well. That series is surprising to me more than anything, and all aboard the Stars train. I hope they go and win it.
Yeah. No, I'm very stunned at where that series stands. Obviously 3-1 in favor of the Stars. I thought I picked Vegas to be in the Stanley Cup playoff in the final and to win the whole thing. But Dallas, we've kind of been doubting Dallas the whole way. We're like, when is Dallas finally gonna like live up to their potential? Doing it right
Yeah,
now, which is unbelievable. Uh, you know, and like I said, Anton Hudobin could win a Stanley Cup as a starter before Tuukka Rask, which is just. I honestly, I think as much as you said rooting for Tyler Seguin, I think I'm rooting for that more. I think I'm rooting for that more
oh
because
yeah, that's on the list too for sure.
because like we've said, love Tuca. I think he's a good goaltender, but I want it to be time to move on. And if the Stars win with Anton Hudobin, then that can just maybe reinforce the Bruins that listen, we don't need Tuca. We like you, thank you for your service, but time to move on. Uh, yeah, I honestly, and again, the Islanders have been this kind of wild ride for them. Uh, I think now I feel in game 4. When's game 4? Is that today? Is
I
that
believe it's today.
today? So we'll know today. I kind of just have a feeling like the Lightning, even though they got up 2-0 in that series, it doesn't feel good. I don't feel good about it for them. So I kind of now I'm rooting for Stars Islanders. Just the weirdest, wackiest Stanley Cup matchup imaginable out of all the teams, and the storylines and people expecting certain teams to be there. If it's Stars Islanders, that is just so gross, and I think that would just be perfect. So perfect for this year in this bubble situation. Stars Islanders, yes, let's have it. Meanwhile,
Yeah, I mean you lose.
on the
Yeah,
NBA side, you'd get the most epic matchup ever if you had Celtics Lakers, which would be just
I
classic.
know. Yeah,
Um,
that would be that's the dream, honestly.
but Stars Islanders, oh, that's just so gross. But as hockey fans will watch anything that's hockey. So I bring it on. Get Vegas and Tampa Bay out of there. Give me Dallas and Long Island.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. Honestly, this is what makes hockey so good: is these teams that you don't expect can get there, and I'm rooting for it. But I want the Stars. I'm rooting for the Stars through and through here. Hudobin and Sagan between the two former Bruins, and yeah, I'm looking forward to hopefully they can close it out.
Yep. All right, now on to the NFL. Dun dun
Dun,
dun
dun, dun,
dun.
dun.
So, uh, season opener was on Thursday. The Chiefs, as we both expected, handled the Texans. Texans look. I don't know. I, I don't know if it's just like first game of the year. You don't know what you have. So many kinks to work out. But I think the Texans are a bad team. Deshaun Watson's great, but I just think the Texans just are probably gonna just limp their way to like a 9-7, 10-6, and get annihilated in the playoffs. Um, so Not too much to take out of that game. I guess it's more, Christian, like the vibe with the NFL is that like there was no ramp up. It's just like all of a sudden, oh, games. And so I wasn't as hyped to watch. I think I'll be more hyped to watch today on a Sunday when you're going to have like
Yeah.
a full slate of games. Just like the Thursday night opener without the crowd, without the pomp and circumstance really of it. It's just kind of like I felt like it fell flat and it didn't really feel like a real game, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, between I wasn't as excited. I mean, look, the Texans are what they are. I that team does not excite me in the least, I'll be honest. Deshaun Watson, I'm surprised he signed an extension there. I think O'Brien kind of sucks. I don't know. I don't think they got rid of Hopkins. They don't have much in front of them. I don't know. That team just doesn't excite me, and I wasn't. I don't know. Maybe it was like, okay, no preseason build up, no real build up, and then it was like, here you go, Thursday night game. I mean, the biggest thing I took away of that game is that you can't even stand at the middle of the field in unity without Kansas City fans booing.
Oh, that was ridiculous. I
Yeah,
know
so
some
I think
people
that's,
said that it
I don't
was
know.
like the Chiefs saying like Chiefs. There wasn't booing. No, there was booing.
No, that was a lie. Yeah, that's a lie.
There was booing, which again, luckily we have so much sports stuff we don't have to get devolved into the political stuff. We spent an entire episode on that, as we should have, but it says a lot that people get mad that you're kneeling during the anthem. Okay, it's not even during the anthem now. Who's being disrespected? It's no, you can't even say that it was about the anthem or anything anymore when you're just booing when they want to show unity. You're booing the
Yeah.
unity at that point. So
Yep, exactly. That's the point.
that
So you can't. So if you want to say it's about the flag, then it's about the flag. But then when guys lock arms at midfield, every single person on the roster, and then you boo anyway, you lose me. That's when you lose me. I just, you know what? Like that's it. You're done. You lose all credibility when you do that. It's not about the flag anymore. It's about you.
Yeah, and as irrational as it is to have been angry about the disrespect, like you realize, like you're disrespecting the military. Well, I've spoken to so many military people, and there's people on both sides who get upset about it. I fought for that flag, so you should stand for it. There's also people who say, listen, I fought for their freedom to kneel. He's peacefully protesting. Let him do it.
Yeah.
That's his right. That's the right that I fought for. You getting upset with him makes me mad as a veteran. You can have that argument back and forth for days. And at this point now, it wasn't even about that. It was just about wanting to show unity, and you're still booing. You're a racist at that point. What else am I supposed to think? Yeah. You're booing people wanting to show unity?
That's where you lose it.
That's where you lose the credibility. Let's get into I want to do picks. And I think, Christian, like I said earlier, the beautiful thing here is we can pick the games here. If you're listening with us live, you can take in our insights and our thoughts on these games into account. And then you can go and listen to the podcast on a Tuesday or a Wednesday throughout the week, and you can see how wrong or right we were. So best of both worlds here for everybody listening. So we already had the Houston KC game. We'll just bang, 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 bang. We'll run right through these. So these are today's NFL Week 1 matchups. Jets at Buffalo. Who you taking?
Buffalo. Yeah, Jets suck.
Yeah, that's an easy one. I'm right there with you. Green Bay at Minnesota. I am taking the Packers. I think Aaron Rodgers is really mad about Jordan Love being drafted there, and he's going to want to prove it in Week 1.
I'll go Minnesota. I think Minnesota has still a pretty good roster, good on the defensive side. No crowd, obviously, but I think they'll be okay.
Eagles at the Washington football team.
The who?
The Washington football team?
Yeah. Washington football team can go screw. Eagles all the way.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a blowout. I think the Redskins might win 2 games this year, maybe. Cleveland at Baltimore. I'm going to take Baltimore.
Yeah, Baltimore.
Easy.
Yeah. Cleveland's going to have another year.
Until Cleveland proves to me that they're like not Cleveland. Like with all the talent they have, they should be good, but they need to prove it to me. And they could prove it in Week 1, but I ain't picking them. Indy at Jacksonville. Your call
Indy.
first. Yeah, again. Blowout City.
Philip Rivers, first game.
Yeah. I think the Colts are the better team. The Jaguars are trying to be the worst team, and they will be. And
People don't realize, too, that the Colts could be pretty good this year, especially if Philip Rivers is on his game. I mean, he's obviously not like the best, but he's up there. And if he plays well, they have a decent roster, I want to say, around him. So,
Yep. Las Vegas at Carolina.
I'll go Carolina. Yeah, I think Carolina takes care of business that one.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about this one. And typically the Raiders are never good on the East Coast, but they're not on the West Coast anymore. So you know what? I'm taking Las Vegas. Week 1, I believe that we will win.
The Death Star is moving.
The Death Star, yeah, the Death Star is on the move. That's no moon. Chicago at Detroit.
I would say Chicago, but they picked Mitch Trubisky, who blows, to be their starting quarterback. So I'm going to pick the opposite team every single week until he's out. Detroit.
I agree 100% with that logic. I'm going Lions as well. This is an interesting matchup. Seattle at Atlanta.
Seattle.
I don't know. You know what? I don't know. It's tough. I feel like the Falcons, if it was late in the year, I'd pick Seattle because the Falcons are giant chokers. But also, no. Is Atlanta going to have fans? Do they have?
I'll tell you, if you pick Matty Ice, he will disappoint you. So
Is Atlanta going to have fans in the stands?
I don't know. I don't know who's going to have fans and who. I think some teams will, some teams won't. I'm not sure about Atlanta.
Let's see. If I want to find out if they're having fans. Nope. Team is not allowing fans. That makes this one easy then. Seahawks. I feel like if they have fans, maybe. But yeah. So we're both going. You said Seattle, correct?
Yes.
All right. I will skip over this next game because we're going to come back to it. Los Angeles Chargers at Cincinnati.
Chargers.
Ooh, no way.
Both these teams. Well,
no.
Okay, Joe Burrow changes it, but I also think both these teams suck.
Let's go, Joe. I'm taking the Bengals. I'm going to just hemorrhage losses this year, betting blindly on Joe Burrow until.
Who's Chargers quarterback is Tyrod Taylor?
Yes.
Oh, okay, never mind. I'm taking Cincinnati. He stinks. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like there's always every year there's that one team that I just keep thinking is going to win, and I just keep picking them until they win. Last year it was the Browns. This year it's going to be the Bengals. I have no idea if the Bengals will actually win games. I think they're going to compete with Joe Burrow. They probably won't win more than 5 or 6 games, but I'm going to pick them. I'm going to pick them to go 16-0 with the way I'm going to bet on them every single week. Arizona at San Francisco.
San Francisco.
I am taking the Cardinals, and here is why. The last time that the Niners were on a field was blowing a 10-point lead in the Super Bowl. No preseason games, nothing to tune up, nothing to put that memory out of your head. An offseason that's just was as bizarre can be, and I just don't think they've had a chance to work out maybe any of that Super Bowl hangover. And I think Kyler Murray runs all over them. And I think that the Cardinals are a good, young, well-coached team that is just going to scrap and fight. And that the Niners are just going to kind of come out flat. And so, Cardinals, baby.
All you need to say is Jimmy G. That's it.
Yeah. Tom Brady at New Orleans.
Tampa.
I'm going Saints.
I think Brady is going to absolutely light it up this year.
Well, is that could be true. Is Mike Evans playing today?
No, he is not. He is out.
Listed as doubtful. When did that? Oh, there it is. Okay.
He's out, yeah. I think it came through Friday, maybe.
Oh, no. It's It's not official because he was initially looked like he was going to be out, and then
Really?
he was
They said he
upgraded.
was.
Then he was upgraded to questionable. Now this is 30 minutes ago from Jay Glazer. Bucks will work Mike Evans out in about 2 hours, and even if he's cleared, Bucks plan to be cautious with him in the game. So there you
Oh,
go.
here you go. Yeah.
That informs my fantasy team. I have Mike Evans, so I'm going to bench him because if they're going to be cautious with him, then stay away if you're a fantasy guy. Yeah, I just think no matter what, I just thought that the Bucks are going to be good this year. But we said when we picked their games way back when, I think we both penciled this in as a loss at New Orleans. Fans are not. I think the Saints should be in the Super Bowl this year. I think they're probably the best team in the NFC, and I just think that Brady early on, doesn't have the connection with those guys to draw from to be able to just go to the well on things. And I just think I honestly expect Brady to how are Bucks fans going to react to Chuck and Duck? Like Brady getting rid of the ball in 3 seconds and not as much as, Arians wants him to hang in there and just bomb it down the field. How much is Brady's self-preservation going to take over and he's just going to nope, I'm just going to throw it to where there isn't a guy because it's been 3 seconds and I want to get rid of the ball. And I think in this game, first game of the year, I feel like the Bucks might get kind of just, roughed up. And, yeah, I'm taking New Orleans.
Tampa all the way, baby. Let's go. Super Bowl.
All right. Well, this is good. We'll get to argue about this now. One of us gets to be right, and we'll get to argue about it later through text and next Sunday on the show. Perfect. Dallas at the Rams.
Dallas. I think Dallas has a really, really good roster, and I think they will. Speaking of Dallas,
I was gonna.
Never mind.
No. I wanted to get to this right now because we're talking about Dallas.
I will take Dallas. But first, I think their roster is very good once again. So it's a matter of can they get their heads on straight and can they kind of push forward. But I think Dallas has a good roster and they'll be up there.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy's going to be so good for them. Skip Bayless, shut the F up.
Yeah, this guy's a moron, huh?
Dude does not know what he's talking about. For those that don't know, he basically, called out Dak. Listen, there's a lot of things that are wrong in society that we need to try and fix. One of those that I think we've made tremendous strides with is destigmatizing mental illness. It's okay to talk about it. It's okay to get help. It's okay to admit that you need help. Mental illness, I said this on Seahawk Talk, our daily show with Sal Regina, because I think it was Wednesday or Thursday was Suicide Awareness Day.
Yeah.
In that, mental illness is not something that's it's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of being human. We all go through it. If you've never said you were stressed, oh, this is making me anxious, that, you're lying. That's part of the human experience. And I think admitting that and owning that and saying that some of us feel it more than others. And to some people, there's general, like I said, run-of-the-mill, being stressed and under pressure, blah, blah. And then there's really severe mental illness, panic attacks, and mental breakdowns. And until you've experienced those things, you don't get to judge anybody or talk about them. And you definitely don't put them down for it. Like that, this is one of those things where it's I can disagree with somebody on a sports take. When you come out with an attitude the way Skip Bayless did about belittling and bringing down Dak Prescott for talking about, his mental health and where he was and wanting to get help and trying to make that oh, I don't want you to be my starting quarterback now because guys aren't going to believe in me. You lose me forever, dude. You could be wrong about sports, or I could disagree with you. This is just something that speaks about your character as a human being. Awful. Awful. Should he get fired? No. Should no one ever listen to him again? Yes. Tune Skip Bayless out for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I mean, he is one of those guys that he gets paid a lot of money to say stupid crap. I mean, we're all in agreement with that, right? But this is just this is one of the dumbest takes and one of the most tone deaf things I've ever heard. Um, yeah, it just comes off as such a dick thing to say. And I mean, look, the whole thing, I mean, so September is National Suicide Awareness Prevention Month or Prevention Awareness Month, I believe. And there's a week in there that is highlighted. But September is that month. So he was talking about it. And his brother had just passed away, all this stuff. And then basically the way Skip brought it up is you're soft if you're doing this and your teammates are going to lose faith in you. No, this is what teammates rally around. It's just one of the dumbest things I've ever heard anyone say. And I thought we needed to get to this just for at least a minute, just to say this guy's a moron. I think we all agree. And this is not in the same breath as a dumb sports take that you get paid to say. This is tone deaf, and he's not going to lose his job, none of that, obviously, but moronic, stupid, whatever you want to say. Yeah, Skip just loses me, and then I don't know. I can't get behind anything he says ever, but this is different, and yeah, he should not be given any credibility on that.
Yeah. So we're in 100% agreement on that. Skip Bayless, you suck, and we'll move on. And we're both picking Dallas. So
Yes.
to the Monday night games, we get the doubleheader Monday night. Pittsburgh at the Giants.
That's an interesting one. You know what? I'm going to say Giants because I think Joe Judge has got them ready to go.
I am picking Pittsburgh, and what was I going to say? Their rookie receiver, Claypool, worth paying attention to. I think that dude might be the best wide receiver in the rookie class and is going to light it up. So Chase Claypool, if you're watching that Monday night game, pay attention to him. I think he's going to open some eyes. I think without preseason, we didn't get to see what a lot of these guys were doing. That dude is going to ball out this year. As long, obviously, as long as he's healthy. That's the deal with anybody. But Clay worth watching. Tennessee at Denver, final game of Week 1, which is kind of a yucky game to put as like the final game. But I guess they figure 10 o'clock on a Monday, who's watching? So might as well squeeze the worst game of the week in there. So Tennessee at Denver.
I'm going to go Denver. I'm kind of on the fence. Obviously, Von Miller just went down for the season for them, but I think Denver could be sneaky, like 9-7, 8-8, something like that.
Yeah, I'm taking Tennessee. I think they're the better team. I think that at least in the early going, they're going to have some momentum from last year, and they're going to feel confident. And the whole is Denver having fans. It's like the same thing over and over again. Like Denver Broncos fans. Does not look like it. They will not have fans. So that's a big difference. Basically you're just battling the elevation at that point and not that raucous crowd. So I take the Titans. And now let's circle on back. To close out the show here, Miami at New England. What will the Patriots be? I think it's great that we get to watch the Patriots at 1 o'clock today and then the Buccaneers at 4 o'clock. I hope the rest of the year that the games are scheduled that way so you can watch one and then the other and just be able to take in both of those teams because it's just such a fascinating story what both of them are going to be this year. Christian, your thoughts on the Patriots heading into this season and your pick for this game?
So I think the first few weeks here they're going to be rough. Now I know the inactives already came out, and Jarrett Stidham is one of them. So all the hype around Jarrett Stidham, I think, can just go by the wayside at this point because he went from starter to bench, and Uche Keene both out today. So I don't know. I think it's going to be rough here. While it's a new offense. My guess is going to be a lot of option, a lot of screen play. close to the line with Newton, and then maybe you go over the top. But I don't know. I'm skeptical of this Patriots team just because of the weapons. I think Edelman is obviously good, but I don't know what you have in Harry. Myers, I think, is good, but the separation was a problem. So, and obviously Cam Newton looks pretty good in that Pats uniform. But I would say they're going to do some different things. It's going to look a little different. Um, in terms of a pick, God, it's tough. I think I will go Pats, but I think it's going to be close, and it's going to be a rough couple of weeks while they get acclimated here with the new guys. But overall, preseason here for the first few weeks, and then off they go, and hopefully they can get to a certain point.
I think that the Patriots are going to be such an intriguing story. What will they be this year? And we don't know. We like we said, we didn't get to see preseason. We don't know what any of this is going to look like. But I just have a feeling that at least in the first couple of weeks here, if there's a team and a coach that is going to have a team ready to go amidst all the like wackiness and weirdness, and just get a team to like drone out all the noise and be focused, it's Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. So I think of all the teams, they are going to be the most prepared for this game. Now, obviously, it's two teams that are familiar with each other, and Flores is probably, trying to get the Dolphins on the same page, that same type of mentality. But obviously, I defer to Bill. I think early on, I'm giving the Patriots the benefit of the doubt because of that "in Bill we trust" thing. Until I see their personnel being fatally flawed, I'm not going to pick against them. In a game like this against the Dolphins.
So I just saw a picture of Cam Newton's suit as he walked in. I don't know if you saw this picture yet. Maybe I'm thinking this is from today, just based on everybody posting it. But if that's his suit from today, the Patriots are going to win by 400. No doubt.
Let's see. Is this on Twitter somewhere?
Yeah. Just scrolling through, and Mike Reese posted it. Iconic saga. I don't know what that is, but.
Let's see.
If that's from today, yeah, the Patriots win by 100, no doubt.
Oh my God! Oh my Lord! All right, yeah. Let me see if I can save this. For those watching live, you're gonna get this. You're gonna get this right now. Let's see. I gotta find the ability to put in an image here. Come on, where is it? Image. Download. Let's save this. Open this. We're doing this all in real time.
Looking like the sunshine out there. Damn. This full yellow.
Oh, it's just an epic look. Let's see. Hopefully this translates. Okay, so
I mean, it's so Cam Newton, right?
You're gonna get this live right now. There you go. If you're watching the show, there it is. Woo! That is sick. That's a suit, though. You gotta back that up. If Cam comes out and plays terribly, this thing within an hour is going to be photoshopped to have a squirting flower. He's going to have a rubber nose. He's going to have clown shoes. He's going to have this is either going to be like, oh my God, this is what we're rolling with all year. This dude is fly, and he's going to come out and ball it in the field, or this thing is going to be totally eviscerated in an hour on Twitter.
I'll tell you what, though, even if it gets eviscerated, still cool as hell. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. I just think I think today the Patriots just find a way. I just think there's too much positive momentum for them. I think they're excited to have Cam as their quarterback, and at least today, I don't know what they're going to be all season, but I think today they're the better team, and I think sneaky guy, they could double Edelman. I think the two guys that you're going to have to watch for today, Keys, Rex Burkhead out of the backfield. James White, Damiere Byrd. Watch him. I think he's the guy that Newton is going to be able to find on a lot of those speed routes, especially if he can get out of the pocket and stay open and stay alive.
I mean, look, I think we expect to see some option stuff. And then Edelman obviously will be in there, but he's going to get doubled. That's my guess. But I would think I am going to be watching two guys if they're on the field. I don't know how the numbers work out in terms of receiver corps, but uh, Myers and Harry, have they made any strides? Can they get open? Those two guys are big because I think early on in the year, they know the system. They've been there for a year now. Where's the jump going to come from, especially from N'Keal Harry? This is a first-round pick last year. It's already looking not great. So I expect to see some type of jump, whether that's more separation. Maybe they try to get him the ball in more unique ways. I'm not sure, but those are the guys that I look at because that wide receiver group is very thin.
Yep. Yeah. So those games are kicking off shortly. That is going to do it here for the 360 Sports Show. Football's back. We're excited to watch. Sit down and relax for a whole day, Christian. It's been a while since. I mean, I know we kind of got spoiled with that with the bubble and the NHL action, but there's really nothing like. I mean, the air's crisp, the breeze is warm, and football's back. So a little bit more of the normal setup, and looking forward to it.
Yeah, let's go Pats.
All right. That'll do it for the program. Thank you for tuning in live every Sunday at 11 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope. And if you can't catch us live, catch us on the podcast. Just search for the 360 Sports Show on your favorite podcast app. That'll do it, folks. I'm Andy Pizzelli for Christian Lauber. Have a great week, everybody.
See you later.